You know, and it's amazing because I've been out with you on the streets of New York. I've been in Times Square with you. Police are very appreciative of the support you and the Guardian Angels offer them.
Yes, Sean, but unfortunately they've been told hands off. Well, guess what? We don't keep our hands off. You shoplift, you commit crime, you assault people, you don't belong in our country, and we're going to make sure you pay a price for that. We got to fight for what we know is right, and you saw a little bit of this. They got a little bit of taste of what the Guardian Angels are going to do to liberate Times Square from them.
You may remember the live broadcast of the Guardian Angels taking the law into their own hands against an alleged migrant shoplifter in Times Square. This occurred live on Sean Hannity's show on Fox News. Problem is, the guy they roughed up wasn't a migrant. He lives in the Bronx. He was here legally, and he was not a shoplifter. And now he's suing. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Aronberg, State Attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman here on the MeidasTouch Network. I appreciate all your views, your likes, your comments. Keep them coming. And as far as that incident broadcast on national TV, turns out that the person that was jumped is named Marco Pina. He's 22 years old. He lives in the Bronx. He has been here since his family brought him here when he was a child, when he was 2 years old. He is protected under DACA, and now he is going to be suing, apparently, the Guardian Angels. He didn't make it clear exactly who. It could be Curtis Sliwa, the head of the Guardian Angels. Could be the group, but he's going to be suing them civilly, and he filed a criminal complaint with DA Alvin Bragg, hoping to get prosecutors to file criminal charges in New York for this conduct. If you're wondering if Fox News is going to be sued, the answer is no, because they just broadcasted they did not actively encourage it. Had they done so, it would be different. And then they went on afterwards to apologize.
Now, Curtis said that the man was a migrant and that he was shoplifting. Fox News has since spoken to the NYPD. Apparently, the statements made by Curtis that the man is a migrant is not true. Curtis said, in part, quote, "I shouldn't have been listening to the crowd. That was my mistake. I should not have had that knee-jerk reaction."
Don't. But then just because you apologize doesn't mean the assault did not happen. Once the assault happened, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So it's up to the DA now. Now, I've got to tell you, as a fellow DA, when you file a civil lawsuit, it makes it a little bit less likely that a prosecution would follow, because the prosecutors don't generally like to be used as leverage in a civil lawsuit. It's usually one or the other. Now, that's not the case in every instance. You could have both. But by filing the civil lawsuit first, it probably dissuades the prosecutors a bit, at least, to file the charges. But we'll see. In New York, the crime of assault is at play here. Now, in other places, it's called battery. Here in Florida, it's called battery, but in New York, it's called criminal assault. And then in the civil context, it could be called battery. It can get confusing, but I want to talk about the criminal context here, because under New York law, assault in the third degree has two different forms. The New York law says that if you intend to cause physical injury and actually cause that physical injury or substantial pain to some other person, then you are guilty of the offense. There's a second part to the statute that says you don't have to intend to cause physical injury. You can just act recklessly. If you act recklessly and cause substantial pain to another person, then you violate this statute. This crime is a misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail, a fine of up to $1,000. You could also get probation for 2 or 3 years in New York. So we'll see what happens. But as far as a potential charge here, it is up to the DA. They're going to investigate it. They've announced they already are with the police. They're investigating this. And I think a key part will be also whether the victim here got any physical injury or substantial pain. It's not clear yet, but if you look at the video, it doesn't look good when you throw a guy to the ground because you think he committed a crime that he didn't commit.
Sliwa was talking to Hannity about illegal immigrants and the crime crisis when his guardian angels tackled a migrant from Venezuela. They claim he was shoplifting. Others say the guy was trying to disrupt the interview. Police gave the man a summons for disorderly conduct. And an NYPD spokesperson made no mention of it to the New York Post if the man was a migrant or a shoplifter. So there's more times in Times Square. You got to watch Hannity to know what's going on.
At a press conference announcing his lawsuit, Mr. Pina said, quote, "I work to support my child and I've never broken the law. Now I will tell my story to the district attorney and will seek justice. I'm not afraid anymore." Pina also described himself as a, quote, "nobody in this city," end quote. Said that Curtis Sliwa is famous. "I was intimidated and scared since I'm only protected by DACA, a temporary permit for immigrants like myself that arrived here as babies." Now the guardian angels, which apologize, have said that, well, he was causing a disturbance, and that doesn't work like that. You don't get to take the law in your own hands and throw people to the ground unless he was the one starting the violence. But it didn't look like that on the video. But again, police and prosecutors will conduct their own investigation, and they'll determine whether or not there's enough evidence to file charges, whether they believe they can get a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's going to be up to the DA, and video will be key in that. Now, when it comes to this whole incident, you can see where this is, again, about performance art, where you have the guardian angels out there on live TV talking about the issue of the border. But remember, President Biden and a bipartisan coalition in the U.S. Senate came up with a border bill. It was drafted by Senator Langford of Oklahoma, a conservative, someone who would probably side with Fox News on everything. But because Donald Trump made the phone call to the House and did not want Joe Biden to have a victory, he shut that down. And Speaker Johnson said, no, we're not even going to vote on the bill. If it ever came to a vote in the House, that bill would pass because it has a lot of the stuff Republicans have been asking for. It's even been endorsed by the union of border agents. The union, which has been very anti-Biden, endorsed this bill. So it is strange to see that the people who have been clamoring for things in the bill all of a sudden turn their back on it because they got a call from the boss, meaning Donald Trump. Of course, we probably shouldn't be surprised in this day and age. But instead of actually doing something about the border, instead of passing legislation to actually make a difference, people are just cosplaying. They're doing performance art. They're out there in Times Square beating up a alleged migrant who committed a crime when that person was neither. So that's where we are. The lawsuit will be filed. Criminal charges may or may not happen. But I do believe that 2024 continues to be the year of accountability. People who continue to mess around continue to find out. I use the PG version of it. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like it. I'm Dave Aronberg, aka the Florida Lawman here on the MeidasTouch Network, and I'll see you next time.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.